This is a before and after photo of a Reddit user named Nukaros. And believe it or not, it only took about 2 years for this transformation. He went from a state of being able to see the skin through his hair to thick, dense coverage that honestly looks like he never had hair loss in the beginning, which once again proves that you can reverse hair loss even when it looks like you absolutely have no chance. In this video, we are going to go through his history, how his early treatments completely failed, how he lost even more ground on finasteride, and what finally turned things around. So if you are someone who's been on finasteride or minoxidil for months and you feel like nothing is working, stick around because this dude's story might be one of the most relatable and most useful things you'll hear this year. So, Nukaros shared his journey on the Trestless forum on Reddit, one of the biggest online communities for people dealing with hair loss. He started losing hair young, which means that he said he noticed diffuse thinning when he was around 15 years old already. That is really early, and for most people, that kind of diffuse thinning is brutal because you don't just lose your hairline or the crown slightly, the whole top of the scalp gets just thinner and lighter and completely obliterated. So, like most guys, he started with the basic finasteride, 1 milligram daily, and then added topical minoxidil twice a day. And while it did slow down the hair loss, it didn't stop it completely. He straight up said Finn was weak. His hair just kept getting thinner, and eventually he actually realized that he was just maintaining a slow decline. That is when he decided to try something stronger. He switched from finasteride to Dutasteride 0.5 milligrams daily, and that was a big step up. Dutasteride blocks both the type 2 and type 1 5-alpha reductase enzyme, meaning it suppresses around 90 to 95% of DHC instead of the 70% that finasteride offers. But here is what's interesting. Even with Dutasteride, he didn't really see growth. It did stop the shedding, but his hair just stayed thin. So he was just maintaining and not improving his hair. And honestly, I do get why he wanted to improve that one. So he decided to go even harder. He added minoxidil, the oral version, at 5 milligrams a day. 5 milligrams is probably the upper dose that dermatologists will prescribe to men for hair loss. And that is when some thickening started, but it wasn't very dramatic. And then the real game changer. He introduced RU58841 at around 150 milligrams nightly every night, dissolved it in a topical solution and then applied it. He said he applied it at night and then kept it on for almost 24 hours before washing and then reapplying immediately. Within a few months, the change was obvious. The itching that a lot of diffuse thinners feel, that DHT itch sensation that a lot of people talk about, completely disappeared. That is usually the first sign that the scalp is finally protected from androgen activity. After that, growth did kick in. The density increased, the color deepened more or less, and by the 5-month mark on RU58841, he looked like a completely different person. So why is it that this finally worked compared to when he took finasteride alone? It comes down to what I would call full coverage, not just for your scalp, but for the whole hormonal pathway. Dutasteride is going to take care of at least 90% of the DHT in your whole system, reducing the root cause on a hormonal level. And then some people might still be super sensitive to the remaining 10% of DHC, which is where RU58841 comes into the picture, because it will then block the remainder that's available in the body from reaching the scalp and the follicles. And at last, oral minoxidil is going to boost blood flow and reactivate dormant hair follicles. So this is a three-way combination. Stop the hormone, protect the rest of the follicles from whatever is lingering, and then feed regrowth. He even mentioned that he was doing some microneedling here and there, but I'm not going to include that because it was nothing crazy, just when he remembered, which still probably helped increase growth factors and topical absorption of RU58841. Even with inconsistent use that likely gave him a little bit extra edge. The synergy between these three is what created the result that you saw at the start. It is not anything magic, it is just a complete layered approach where he attacks it from all angles. Now, it is important to say this is not a beginner stack at all. Each of these compounds carries some risk. Dutasteride can cause side effects in sensitive users like low libido, fatigue, or mild gynecomastia in rare cases. Oral minoxidil can lead to water retention or faster heart rate, especially at higher dosages. And RU58841 is a research compound, so there is no safety guidelines for this. Personally, I use RU58841. I love that stuff, and I use Dutasteride myself. I can't use all minoxidil because I will get a moon boy face immediately. Unfortunately, I look horrible on minoxidil, so that is not an option for me. And on the other hand, I know people who doesn't like to take RU58841. They say they will get heart palpitations and other stuff. I never experienced anything like that, even at super high dosages. And just let me mention, 150 milligrams is a really high dosage, but it is also effective. I tried that myself. That said, Nukaros mentioned that he did not experience major side effects even while combining all three, which matches what some advanced users also report on Trestless. Still, if anyone is considering doing a similar route, it is worth doing lab work. Check your blood pressure and start out low. There's no reason to just blast this. So what can we learn from this case? There's a few takeaways from his story. First, if you're not responding to finasteride, it doesn't automatically mean your hair can't recover. Some people simply need stronger suppression or additional localized protection, like RU58841. Diffuse thinning can absolutely be reversed when the follicles are still alive. It just takes some multi-layered approach: hormonal control, local defense, and stimulation. And third, consistency matters more than anything. He did not skip applications, he did not constantly switch compounds, and gave each change months to work. And that is how you get results like this. Not by giving a compound 2 weeks and then changing it because you saw a new trend on TikTok. So take from this whatever you want, and I will see you in the next one.